White, green, yellow, red, brown. There are so many types of curries, right? And I've shown you some of those. I'm referring to a mutton curry. But today's mutton curry is very different. It's called Kala Mutton, which literally translates to black mutton curry, of course. Hey guys, it's me, the Bombay chef Varun Inamdar, and welcome to Get Curried. Let's begin with black mutton curry or Kala Mutton. Like I said, Kala mutton is literally black mutton curry, and the black tinge comes from a combination of onions and coconut. And this coconut is the copra or the dry coconut. And this one is not desiccated or sliced or anything, but it is an entire coconut which is dried. This is generally sun dried. You get it in most parts of the country. But this one is very important for this recipe. And this recipe is also from the rural parts of Maharashtra. Now this is made in several ways. This one of course is my take. This is not traditional at all, but don't hold me for it because this is going to be fantastically flavorful and tasty. Now there are various elements to this. The first one is of course very good quality meat. Now generally the meat has to be a very young meat so that it cooks very quickly. The second component is making a green masala or a green paste. So let's begin with that. For this, I'm going to use some green chilies. And remember that green chilies and garam masala are the only spice component in this recipe. There's no red chili. Let's just break this off. To this, I'm going to add in pods of garlic. Now this one is an entire pod of tiny garlic. This is not the large variety that you generally get. If you're using cloves, then just use around 20-25 cloves because that will be very nice and flavorful. To this, I'm also adding in a peeled root of ginger, just cutting it roughly. It's all these fresh, wonderful ingredients that add in the magic of this wonderful recipe. The next ingredient is fresh coriander. Now this of course is in the leaf form. Just snip this roughly, tear it like so. Now without the addition of water, we need to grind this into a paste. Let's add this straight into the meat, which is nice, young and tender. Like I'm saying again, that's the most important element of this dish. Scrape all these little bits and do not put this to wash because you're going to use this again for the second base, which is going to form the core of the black mutton. Let's keep this aside. And into this, let's add in curd. So let me repeat, it is chunks of meat with a paste of ginger, garlic, chilies and coriander, and then followed by curd. To this, I'm also adding in haldi, turmeric powder, and salt. Let's mix all of this well, and this becomes your marination. Now, in case you have all the time in the world, you can marinate this and keep this overnight refrigerated. If you're somebody like me who loves making things in a jiffy, time to keep this meat aside for half an hour and that should be perfect. But while the meat is resting, we are not going to rest. Let's light the flame and begin roasting our dry coconut. Let's place this and allow this to char. But remember, while you're doing that, this should not get intensely black or it should not char completely because that will ensure that the curry becomes bitter and you're not looking at that. You want that nice flavor, that smoky flavor, that beautiful deep black color, but not of burnt coconut. You literally blow the flame off and allow it to cool down. And while that's happening, we start placing in peeled red onions. Very carefully, without burning yourselves, please. Let's do this on high flame. Once this onion is beautifully charred on the outside, you pull this out of the flame and allow this to cool down completely. Once both these have come down to room temperature, we slice these so that these are ready for the next step, and that is grinding them. I'm going to use the same jar and add all of this and grind this into fine and smooth paste. Again, this time, no use of water. Well, once, twice over while grinding, also ensure that you scrape this from the sides, because remember, there's no water in this recipe. So scraping will ensure that the onion or the moisture in the onion rolls back into the spice mix. Once, twice, you may have to open the lid, scrape all of this from the sides and push it back into the center, because remember, there's no water in this recipe for now. Of course, the moisture in the onions is going to help you a lot in this case. Our paste is done and ready. Let's have a quick check. While this is done and ready, the meat is done and ready, allow me to wash my hands and then we move on to the cooking process. Let's begin with the cooking process, and for this, I'm going to use a pressure cooker. Let's place this, and to this, I'm going to add in mustard oil. Remember, I said I'm going to make it a little my style. Mustard oil in this case, but by all means, you can use vegetable oil. Well, mustard oil and mutton or meat or goat meat is a wonderful combination, and don't take it because I'm saying it. Try doing it yourself. I personally feel mustard oil may be very crude, very pungent while it's raw, but when it gets combined with goat meat and when it gets cooked, it has a wonderful aroma, and that's something that I personally like. But I know a lot of you may not like using mustard oil, but like I said, vegetable oil is your thing then. To this, let's add in marinated meat. And this needs to cook on high flame for at least 7 to 8 minutes. But while doing that, ensure that this is constantly stirred. After 8 minutes, you'll realize that the meat will start releasing all its moisture. Now the next step is equally important because all this moisture has to get sucked back into the meat, and for that need to continue doing this for another 8 minutes. And while doing this time, I'm going to add in salt as required. Once all the moisture from the meat has been absorbed back, let's lower the flame and add in the masala. And this one is the Kala Masala or the Mutton as it's called regionally. Let's add this in. Along with this, I'm going to add in Garam Masala. Another very important ingredient in this case, which is hot water, because that way it just starts leaching out all the oil, which is very, very, very important for this recipe. Also, it does not give a thermal shock to the meat. It starts cooking from where it has reached in terms of temperature, which is very important in this recipe. Let's stir all of this well. Of course, you can check for salt. In this case, it's just perfect. Put the lid of the pressure cooker and on medium flame, allow 4 whistles. Once this is done, off goes the flame, and this has to literally come down to room temperature or till the steam or the dum subsides. The pressure has subsided. Let's have a quick check. Where the meat has cooked perfectly, the oil has released, the masalas have cooked well, and the salt, of course, is just perfect. Let's serve this. With this, your Kala mutton is done and ready. And this traditionally is served with bhakri. For the ones who cannot lay your hands on that, pav or sliced bread should do the magic. On that note, do not forget to like, share and subscribe to get curried. And for more such recipes, stay tuned.